need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Spearway. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
We made it. Hi, everybody.
Gadanta kicked my ass.
Yeah, well, you said earlier, Gadanta's a bitch. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Well, we've had a time here just trying to get online.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing.
But we persevered, and you did it.
We did it. Yes.
We did it. There you go. Hi, honey. How are you doing? Do you need a drink?
That'd be nice. I have it H2O. Right there.
Look what I have.
Am I looking at the right place, Kellee?
Look, yes, you are. Look what I have.
Is that something you did yourself?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I made 2.5 gallons of fresh grape juice. Grape juice
So that's
from
great,
grapes
Kellee.
that I picked. Yeah, here on the farm.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
Is that over
you.
the weekend?
Over the weekend. You betcha.
That's great.
You betcha.
I love your necklace. That's beautiful. Your pendant there.
You know who gave this to me?
No.
Our friend Ranger Rick.
Oh, wow. That's
On
right.
the cruise.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. And you have a wonderful guest there. You have Kellee is there.
My friend
I
Kellee
love
is
Kellee.
there.
Hi, Kellee.
Yeah, Kellee's over here. We're afraid for her to move because who knows broadcasting wise what'll happen.
Oh, and you had a good weekend?
Let me remember. Yes, I think it was Kellee came down, so we had a great time. Went to a couple of friends' parties, went to a martini party, which was fun. And it was really nice. We just what else? We went to eat and played with Pro in the dog parks. It was fun.
Super.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
How was your weekend? Okay.
It was fun. We started this massive remodel in our house. Massive.
Yes, how's that going, Kellee?
Oh my gosh. We have, it puts you into chaos for a while, for probably a year of chaos, but it's really it's going to be amazing. Reimagining what space.
That window looks really nice.
Isn't it beautiful? And the space here is so beautiful, and it's going to be amazing. So we're excited about that. I picked apples off my apple trees.
Wow.
I made an apple pie. No, I was Betty Homemaker. I am not kidding. Let me just show everybody again. 2.5 gallons of grape juice.
Wow.
This is Concord grape, so you can't make wine out of it. So, but it's really good to drink and make jelly and, I'll figure out stuff.
Yeah. Very nice. Wow.
Yes. So
I just decided to talk to a lady this morning. She's coming by tomorrow. I think next day. I'm going to be doing a workshop at a winery next April, probably. It's a retreat center in east of San Diego. It's a really nice one with everything, labyrinth, the pool. And
how fun! It sounds amazing.
Friday night, full day Saturday, and half day Sunday. It'll be nice. Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah.
Oh, those winery areas are so nice.
I didn't know
for that.
It's a lot of them. A lot of the white wines and red wines and
Great! How fun! Okay.
So we're finally getting to the show.
We're finally getting to the show. Well, you want me to talk about astrology? Because we had.
I don't know. Do you?
Well, I probably should.
In it? I just asked you. Is she going to show
it? Is. Gadanta actually comes on Thursday, James, but you're not too off because this is a very emotionally charged week yet again as we head into eclipse season. So we're actually marching into eclipse season, and that's this energy that we're going to be feeling right now. But yes, Venus squares Uranus on September 28th, and that is all about Gadanta during that period. So that does come up this week. Rahu's Gadanta to the end of the year. So yeah, you can blame that Gadanta on everything right now, because that is true. But what I wanted to talk tonight about was the full moon on Friday, because we have a really interesting full moon this Friday, and it's going to be the last full moon before the eclipse season. And the first eclipse is on October 14th, and the second one is October 28th. And eclipses are karmic times for us. They bring endings and beginnings. So they really make changes in our life. And this full moon, it's called the harvest moon. Ironically, I've been harvesting, right? But this full moon, and in Vedic astrology, it's in Virgo. I'm sorry, it's in Pisces. It's in Pisces in Vedic astrology. And it's in the nakshatra, which is the celestial house, called Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. But it's important I say that because what it means, this full moon, it's the warrior star is what we're calling it. It means seclusion, spiritual attainment, and the beginning of the process of ending something and beginning something. So this is happening 2 weeks. This is happening this Friday, 2 weeks before this eclipse. And eclipses are all about endings. So you can look at it and view these next 2 weeks, if you will, as the times that you will be looking at your life to see what is it that you can close during this chapter in your life. Because this full moon ends a cycle. So it's a really good time to think about what are you ready to leave behind?
Well,
are you ready to let go of fear or insecurities or attachments? And I know, James, you've been letting go of
a
lot of things. And this full moon helps us because it's actually opposes Mars. Mars gives us, Mars is war, but it also is energy, and it gives us confidence, and it helps us to face anything in our situations that, let's say, we've been too afraid to look at. So this full moon is extremely powerful because it gives us a courage and the ability to go inwards very deeply and really be honest with yourself. What is it that I need to let go of that's holding me back? So by the time, in 2 weeks from now, by the time we get to the eclipse, you'll be ready to make that shift in consciousness.
So a lot of people get to say to themselves, within 2 weeks' time, what do I want different in my life?
Yes. So these are some questions to ask about that. You can ask, do I have any attachments maybe that I'm having trouble letting go of? Okay.
Am I looking in the past too much? Should I look at the future?
Absolutely.
Who's in my life that doesn't belong in my life? Who's pulling me down? Who's holding me back from my realization or manifestation of what is for me?
And do I feel comfortable showing my true self, James?
That's another one.
Do I have to hide aspects of myself?
That's a big one.
It's a big one.
Sure.
And another big one with this full moon that you'll be wanting to look at is, do I create enough space for myself to pursue maybe studies that interest me? Because this is going to be a very deeply spiritual time to look at the growth of your soul. What is it that's waking up in you that needs that you need to work with and work on? So it's a really powerful full moon.
Very psychic. Pisces, full moon.
Very psychic. Very psychic. So, and you won't be able to pretend it's not happening. Do you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing. It gives you a big sense of awareness.
Yeah, for sure.
So there you go. That's this week.
That's a lot. It's a lot,
as always.
It's always a lot. It seems to get a lot more and a lot more and a lot more. Yes,
it is. So tonight is one of my favorite topics of all, James. Yours too. Yep. I mean, free will versus destiny. So what are your thoughts? Because I have a lot of thoughts too on this subject.
I know you have some great examples as well.
I do.
It really brings it home. But to me, and I could be totally wrong, it's just my way of looking at it, what I've been told or what I've gleaned from the years of doing this, is that before we're born, we connect with our spirit guides, our council, if you will, our team, soulmate, soul group, and we work out our plan. We work out our agenda or a curriculum for the upcoming school, the class we're going to take on planet school Earth. And I believe there are certain things you have to learn that the soul must go through. Well, I call them destiny points. But there's also within that curriculum, we always have free will. So we always can choose certain things. Now, I always believe the example was, we go down the woods and walk down the trail and go by the water. We can do that. We're destined to go down that road. But if we want to go to the stream or the lake, we go down there and hang out there for a while. But eventually, a higher self will get us back on that path. But we have the choice whether to go down there to that lake and look around and stay there as long as we want, and eventually get back to our destiny.
Right. That's a good one.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
And what do you think, Kellee? What's your definition of that?
Well, my definition is exactly what you talked about. I mean, we have destiny points that our soul has to have, because it's for the growth of us, so we will grow. And when we come to Earth is a free will school. And James, this is one of my favorite things, and you and I had talked about this. That expression, if only I could go back and do it again.
Yeah.
If only I could go back and do it again, I would make a different choice. Really, you would? Ooh, okay. Well, guess what? You, my friend, get to go back and do it again. You get to come back. The circumstances may look totally different. Everything may look different. But the bottom line is, what choice are you going to make? And when people say, well, the universe tested me. No, the universe doesn't test you. Test you. The higher self tests you. So yes, you will have opportunities to go back and make a free will choice. But there are certain things that, first of all, let's say this: destiny and free will work together.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand. So if we look at a perfect example of height, would you say height is destiny?
Definitely.
Yeah. And then
your genetics, destiny.
Your genetics, destiny.
Destiny.
But your weight, in most cases, would be free will. Because I've been all sorts of weights: high, low, medium. I've been all sorts of weights. And it's I've always known I've had a choice about how I want it to be.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that in life, let's go back to class, the classroom. There are certain classes that you're going to take, you're programmed to take this lifetime. And those classes could be anything from the family dynamic. It could be partners. It could be a job. All these different types of destiny points. Your soul has to grow. But again, you can choose how long it's going to be. You can choose to be upset with someone. You can choose to not forgive. You can choose not to move away. You can choose what job you're going to be in. There are certain destiny.
That's the free will right there.
That's free will right there. You get the free will. You get the choice of what works for you. And the best way, I believe, that people can choose the right way of doing things, free will, is to tune into who they are on their soul level. Intuition means the voice of the soul. So the more one listens to that little voice within, the easier it'll be to make that choice, because you have to get from the head to the heart. And a lot of people have trouble getting from the head area because that critical mind gets in the way. But if they get to that heart, that pure sense of their soul's language, they can make the right choice, even if it doesn't make rational sense. I quit Paramount Studios 40 years ago to do mediumship. Why would I do that rationally? Why would I do that? It paid very well, but insurance benefits, the whole thing. I didn't know anything about where I was going to get paid for mediumship, but I knew within my being that felt right, that had to happen. I didn't know how it was going to work out, but I knew it had to be. And I think many times the universe will test us day after day after day. And we want that. We want to be tested. So it's almost the more we test, the more we get to know ourselves. And more we choose.
But I think it's us testing each other. I mean, ourselves, our higher selves are just testing us.
Yes. Our higher selves is testing us. You bet. And, it's interesting, Kellee, because we have that free will. We have that choice to bring certain people in our lives, to bring situations in our life, by our behavior, how we choose to behave, how we choose to be. That will affect many, many things. Now, you'll have destiny points, but you can choose, the way things happen to you. How are you going to do with that? So let's say there's a destiny, like people are destined to meet one another. They're destined to meet one another, perhaps going to have a coffee together. Now, that's a destiny. But the choice to become friends, to be a one-time thing, to make it something deeper, that's free will.
Right.
So that's different. But the destiny is they have to meet each other.
That's so interesting. So I had this experience happen to me 2 times. So, and I'll tell you what it was. The first one was in 1981. A girlfriend of mine said, let's go to a party. I said, I don't want to go to this party. She said, well, come on, it'll be fun. I said, I don't want to go. She said, well, there's a guy I want to meet that she wanted to meet. I said, oh, it's the last thing I wanted to do. So I go to this party. I did not want to go. And James, as I'm at this party, my girlfriend says, oh, I like that guy over there. And I said, oh, go you. I literally go to turn because I'm thinking, I want out of this party. These people are not, I just want the hell out of here. And all of a sudden I hear objectively. So you know how you and I talk about, do we hear it objectively or subjectively? I heard objectively, you can do this now or you can do this later. Yes. And I said, what?
Yeah.
And I heard it again. You can do this now or you can do this later. And I'm like, and here's the weirdest thing. This was, I
And
was
that's
like
part
20.
of that's in your book, Kellee.
It's in my book. That's right. But I was like 22 or 23 at the time. And I knew intuitively what it meant. How could I have known what it meant? I knew that this was a karmic situation. And I looked at this guy and I'm like, there is no way. And at that exact moment, I felt a push into him. And I tell you, 2 years later, I had my daughter. And I can tell you, it was my daughter who had to have that person. But I was like, there is no way. And the second time I heard that same voice was husband number 2. And I was like, no way. But when I met, so those were destiny things because I had a lot to learn, which was extremely helpful, actually. It was like hell during that time, but it was now I look at it as, wow, did I learn a lot. But then when I met Don, that was different. I didn't hear the voice, but we were put together in a lot of destiny situations. But I knew, James, that I had the free will to make any decision I wanted because he didn't fit the profile of the bad guy. So I wouldn't have been somebody I would have chosen. But I knew I was there to make a free will choice. And I made the best choice I could have ever made.
Now here's one, Kellee, which I'm sure will be asked this later, but if someone, let's say a kid, goes out to a bar or something, get drinks, or goes with some friends, they take drugs, and or they drink, and they hit the car in the accident, and the kid dies. Now, is that destiny or is it free will? So that's an interesting one because
it's a complicated one.
It's a complicated one because that soul chose to go and have that extra drink or to take the drugs or whatever, choose to get in that car. That was free will. Didn't have to. The destiny point could have been that they met each other, friends, but what that soul choose to do. So it's an interesting one because that free will.
Or did that soul choose to pass away during that, or was there a karmic destiny here for this to happen?
Right. Or was it that soul's free will to play with his destiny point, their destiny points,
which are tied together,
which can happen.
Yeah,
so
which can happen too.
Cut and dry. It's not so black and white.
Right. That's a really good example.
It's a good example, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done so many, as you have, many readings with parents of children. And it's so interesting because part of it is this was destined, or someone said, I shouldn't have been there at that time. My free will did this. I died younger than I should have.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They have to look at that. But there's no death. It's just a change of space. So
right.
It's an interesting one.
It
all depends on the exact situation. Everybody has. You can never compare because everybody's unique individuals.
I remember, James, after my head injury and I was having these dreams and experiences while I was on the other side. And one of the experiences I had was I got to be in this giant auditorium watching people raise their hands and volunteering for situations such as 9/11 or any of the big ones you choose. And I saw people raising their hands and I remember thinking, oh my God, why are they raising their hands? Don't they know this is going to be? And then I knew immediately after 9/11, I understood that the people that were in the towers that were struck, would have been a destiny point for them. Now, the firemen, for me, every one of those firemen made the decision to run up. Every one of those firemen.
They made that choice.
They made that choice. And I thought that was free will.
Mm.
What do you think? Or do you think, free will leaving?
I like that example. It's hard because I don't know. It could have been a destiny point for some of the firemen. It could have been choices, free will for the others. It's a mixed bag there. It's hard to define, the growth of one soul compared to another. But it's a little bit of both, I think, in that respect.
Yeah.
It's all about learning, whether it's free will, destiny. It's all learning. And again, we can learn quicker and make the best choice, again, by using the intuition. That's what God gives us to live down this earth, this school earth, is your intuition. So you can't think your way out of it. You got to feel your way out.
Absolutely. And when you make free will choices, there's a responsibility that goes with it.
100%. 100%. You can't blame anyone but yourself.
Exactly. You cannot. Exactly. And that's how you learn,
Yeah,
that's how you learn with this kind of thing.
It's very true.
Oh my gosh. Very true. So let's see.
I'm using my iPad, Kelly, so I can't see any comments. So
okay. Well, let me.
You'll have to read them. I'm sorry.
I will look for that. I will look for some of these. One of the examples I wanted to give, James, was let's say the destiny was to be a doctor.
Yes.
But the free will would be, where did you go to college? What did you want to study? Maybe you wanted to be a psychiatrist, and instead you became a something. I mean, that would have a lot to do with both free will and destiny there too.
It's very funny. I was watching television the other day, and I saw Patty Griffin, and I'm like, "What happened to Patty Griffin?"
Who was Patty Griffin? I don't remember.
I'm Kathy Griffin.
Kathy Griffin. Yes.
Griffin. Yeah. So I'm watching that, and all of a sudden I see her lips. And could it be a destiny point? Yes, she wanted to be on television. She wanted to be well known. She was, but she made that choice to redo her face or her lips, and her lips turned out, well, I guess from what she showed, pretty bad. She tattooed lips. That was her free will. That was her choice.
That's free will. Yeah, absolutely. That's free will. Definitely. Kyle Hodges, I'm tired of being a victim. So I'm good.
Yeah,
so I'm trying to choose it gets boring, James. Is that the truth?
And people around you don't like it.
Oh.
They get bored.
Amen. So I'm trying to choose my destiny that my soul wants me to choose. Great. So my question is, can I stop being a victim, or do I let the cards fall where they may?
Well, I think. What do you think, Kelly?
Oh no! Stop being a victim. I mean, the moment you have you change your consciousness, you change where all the cards fall.
Yeah, so don't look up the universe to do it for you. You got to do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I would say it's really number one, finding out what your passion is. What are you passionate? What lights up your soul? What makes you love what you're doing? What's the passion you have? For a lot of victims, sometimes they got to take chances. They got to go out and do it without knowing what's going to happen. But it's believing in yourself enough. Right. You can't let someone else guide you or believe in you or love you. You got to love yourself. It's the best way out of it. And follow your passions. That's what happens. And when you do that, the universe everything falls into place. The universe will fall things into place. But if you stay in that one place of being a victim, boy, it gets very old fast.
Well, it's so myopic, and there's no growth.
Right.
And again, as you said, everybody around you is like, wah, wah, wah. I've had enough. I mean, it's just too much already.
Yeah.
So Christine Salisbury says, when it comes to exit points, are they all obvious to us that we escaped it? She said, I'm curious about our fears, something that is a destiny point for the ending. So, but when it comes to exit points, are they all obvious to us that we escaped it? I think
that's really interesting. Good question.
Good question.
I don't think they're all obvious, but I think many times our free will could end our lives.
Yes.
Right? If you just choose to end my life, that could be your free will ended that class. You cut school early. Your free will got in the way. That may not have been your destiny point.
And it's earlier what you said about intuition. If you really use your intuition, the intuition might say, don't go on that trip.
It's happened many times to me where I've almost died several times. Once was I was putting gasoline in a car in a 1967 Impala when I just moved to Los Angeles. The gas tank didn't work, the gas scale. And it was a Saturday night, and I was on a major street. It was like 11 o'clock at night. The car stopped working, and there was a gas station right there. So I went and got the gasoline, the can, was kneeling down. Something doesn't feel right. I went back to the gas station. I was saying, bang. And there was a car that went right into the back of that car. So if I was kneeling down there and didn't listen to the little voice within, I'd be dead. And there are several of those sorts of things that I'm sure a lot of us have had.
Yeah. Wow.
Little voice within, even when everything doesn't make sense, but that little voice does. That's the best way. Yeah.
So Susie Everett says, why do I keep getting handed so many difficult situations in my life? I'm exhausted.
So this is a great one, I think. And so why do we judge it? Right? Difficult? It's an opportunity. They're all opportunities. It's how you decide to live it through and look at it and see, wow, this is an interesting one. It's like a spool of thread. I got to take the knots out of the spool of thread. Take your time and open up the thread one piece at a time. It's how you learn how to deal with things is many times. And so I would say look at that as opportunities to grow.
It's funny. I just have to point this out. You use the idea of a thread and a knot.
Oh, I do it every day with my jewelry and my strings. But it teaches me patience. One at a time.
The word Kandanta means knot. It means not.
It means not. Of course not. Thanks, Gadanta.
I have to say that. It's very true, James. I mean,
But think of things, and everybody, you think of things as opportunities to grow, because that's really what they are. And when you get to the other side, you look back at your life and say, wow, I had a lot of these opportunities or lessons. And if we get away from judgment, that's really the key here. Don't judge things. Just let things be as they're going to be. Yes, some things are very, very difficult. Things, as you, Kellee and I know, we've had some hard times. Since the COVID thing, we've been on the phone with each other saying, wow, the world is spinning around so quickly. Yeah. Did you listen to that lyrics of that song I sent you, by the way? Did you listen to that?
I loved it.
Isn't it
great song? What a
Just
great
lie
song.
down, watch the world go around, and be still.
Love that. We'll have to post that. You have to post that one. Because it's a really good one. Lisa
Jamusian. The world's crazy. Yeah.
Totally. It's just going to ramp up. Lisa says, what about suicide? Is that free will or destiny?
I think it could be both. It could be both. It could be a destiny point that soul has chosen, or the team, its team and family group souls have chosen that one member of the group soul is going to complete suicide to teach others various lessons about whether forgiveness or guilt or resentment or happiness or whatever it's going to be,
or how to live their life or anything. How to
live their lives.
Yeah.
Even parents lose children many times. I think many times it's a destiny point to force that parent to get on a spiritual path. And that might have been agreed to before the lifetime. Not every situation, but definitely there are some that do fit that scenario.
Right. Jerry Dombrowski, she says, can free will sabotage your destiny? I feel like I did this by not adopting a certain dog at the animal shelter that I think I should have brought into my life. So can free will sabotage your destiny?
What do you think, Kellee?
Let me think about that. I think destiny is destiny.
So I think like the analogy I used about the water and the pathway in the woods.
Yeah.
So yes, it can color your destiny point. It can hold it back or color it in a different way. You're forced to have that destiny point, whatever it's going to happen. You can go easily or not. Yeah. But I think that, I wouldn't beat yourself up about not having that dog.
Right.
That doggy might have been meant to go somewhere else, or maybe it's a lesson to you that you got to listen more to your intuition. There's always a positive ending to every single situation. I'm telling you right now, even the worst of things, one can look at the best. There's something bigger. There's something better, because it's all about love.
It ultimately it is. Deborah Elling says, is there a way to figure out if you are experiencing a destiny point versus free will?
I would think there is, Kellee, as an astrologer.
Yeah.
On the chart, isn't it? Yeah. And I'm sure there's a discipline that talks about destiny points on a chart.
Yeah, absolutely. When I look at a chart, I'll say there will be times when I know for sure something is going to happen here. And then there'll be times where you have, there is a free will point here. What would you like to do? Because this is what I see happening. This is where you could go. You could make a different choice. Now, sometimes you might make a different choice. And as you said, the road brings you back around to that destiny point again. Some destiny, you just can't escape destiny.
Yeah, it might be delayed, but you'll have to go through that destiny. Yeah. And whether it's in this lifetime or another one, you're going to go through it eventually. It's like you got to take these classes. Go to grade 6. You're going to have to go through grade 6. Can't skip it to go to grade 7. You have to go through.
God, that's true.
It's destined. It's destined for you to experience every part of that. Right. And again, from the spirit side of point of view, they're opportunities. We don't see them down here on this earth as opportunities. We think it's painful and hard. But remember, those certain experiences that are the hardest that we're going through are the ones we grow from the most, including the people in our lives that are very difficult, including family members. Those are the lessons, the opportunities to grow the most. So we got to think of it.
Absolutely. Joni Gibson. Hi, Joni.
Hi, Joni.
When we come to a crossroads in our lives where we can take this way or that, and we make a choice to take the one path, then our intuition tells us to go back, and we do. Is that considered free will or destiny?
So I think it's when you're tuning into that, you'll be able to tell what is the right path. So you're in tune with what Kellee mentioned, the higher self, but that's the destiny point that you're aware of that you have to go through. So if you're more in tune with yourself, you follow your intuition, you will know the right path the first time. You don't have to wait for the second time. You will know it feels right. It's what feels right, what feels wrong. Right. The first psychic I went to said, James, in life, when you have barriers, when you have blockages, when things don't work out the way for you, right, when the door is closed, that means it's not your path. You need to try something else. And I've lived that way, and it's very, very true. Yeah.
So true, James. That is so true. I was just thinking, I had a woman once that came to see me, and she and her daughter, she had 4 or 5 kids, and 4 boys and 1 daughter. And for whatever reason, the daughter didn't feel that well that day, and the mother just wanted to stay home with the daughter. And so the father took the 4 boys and the father on a plane. And of course, the plane crashed and they all died.
Mm.
And the mother said, Kellee, I had this intuition, this feeling. Even though my daughter got sick and she was young, I just knew I couldn't get on that plane. It was a really interesting thing. And that was their destiny. It wasn't her and her daughter's destiny. It was fascinating.
But, yeah, that's interesting. And then the human being comes involved in it.
Exactly.
The judgment. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I should have. Yep. It wouldn't have happened if I did this. Not true.
Right. Not true. That was pretty much the session. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or several, I should say. Yeah.
Things are pre-planned.
Right. Amanda Hill. Hi, Amanda. I know that name. Amanda. How do you know if it's a fear-based decision or intuition leading the choice? Good question.
Well, for me, it would just be what the sensing of a feeling is. I know it feels, again, go back to the same thing. I know it resonates as truth to me in my soul. And again, going back to what we talked about last week, the week before, to the own self be true. The more you know yourself, it resonates as truth with you. But the more you overthink things and rationalize, that won't be your intuition. That'll be your critical mind. So that's really where you learn how to discern between the two, and that will help you. And it's not that people think, oh my gosh, it just seems like so much. It's really not. It's quite the opposite. It's pretty simple. It's what do I feel right? What does not feel right? Or I should be doing this, but I'm wanting someone else to help me out. You don't do that. It'll happen that way it's meant to happen. And people will help you out if that's the right path for you.
Absolutely. Oh, this is a good one, James, from Lori Counts. Hi, Lori. She says, hi, Kellee. Hi, can you give us an idea when we are destined to read your book? That's a good question. Soon, Lori, soon.
Probably next year at this time, we'll have copies of your book.
You got it. Okay, Bernadette Desir. When it comes to the other side and other planets, do they violate free will sometimes without us knowing? Good question.
It's a very good question. I mean, it's hard to answer that because we don't know the vibration of other worlds, of other planets. We don't know from the human point of view. So we look at that with a bias. We have a human bias, and we measure those other planets or solar systems, galaxies by our human experience. So it's hard for us to answer that because, again, we don't know what that vibration is made of. We don't know what that world is made of. We're just looking from the human perspective. So we are biased. So it's hard to answer that.
So this is from Renee Hounsel. She says, I'm going for my second QHHT session. Not sure exactly what that is. On October 13th. The first one I see how free will had many possibilities. Can I be changing my destiny going back and using free will to heal the past?
I leave that to you, Kellee, being the therapist that you are.
Yeah, let's see. I think that you can I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have the answer.
I just like that analogy of school, like the grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. Yeah. You can go back and do a really great job if you have to relearn that lesson in grade 2. Now that you have maybe life experience, you can go back and look at it differently. But you have to go through that experience the way you are at that time. Yeah. Hindsight is incredible. But, you might have handled it differently then. And all of us are growing every day and expanding every day. And we got to be willing to go through that stuff. I guarantee later on, we look back at it, it's going to be very, very different to us. And we always say, if only I knew then what I know now, I would have behaved very, very differently. That's part of living life. That's part of the gift of life, that it gives you that. I just turned 65, as you know. And looking back at my life, wow, it's so different. Than it was in my 20s or 30s, and I'm in a very different space. Things mean very differently to me here they did in my 30s or 40s. Very, very different. My values have changed a little bit. Things don't mean as much to me as they used to in certain respects.
Well, there's wisdom when you get older.
And there's wisdom. We have wisdom. That's correct. And life gives us wisdom. If we're willing to learn and open up and receive, we'll get wisdom.
God. Please,
so
God.
If we just observe things and don't judge them, observe things and ask, what is the opportunity this is afforded me?
I like that. What's the opportunity here? So Cody Arthurs says, is it possible to realize your own calling before you get there. I feel called to do mediumship and feel I know in my heart, but we know just the need that continuously presents itself.
Well, I really don't know. That's not quite clear, but from what I'm gathering, I had that when I was in my early, as a child, I knew that I would be before people. I didn't know how. And I'm talking like 8, 9 years old. I just knew I'd be well known. I didn't know what that meant. I knew when my mother used to walk to school and someone said California, and I said, oh, I'm going to live there one day. I had no idea what California was, but I knew I was going to live there one day. And when the whole thing about mediumship came about, which was the weirdest thing, because I never went into this world thinking I want to be a medium at all. It just presented itself because I was open-minded. I was working in this talent agency job, and I went to a medium. A friend of mine dragged me to this medium, and not dragged me, but I was open-minded enough. Mm-hmm. I was open and minded enough to experience different things in life. I wasn't locked into a certain way because I didn't know everything. And I've always been a person that opens up to all the different experiences and spontaneously, because I don't know what someone else can offer me, can afford me, can have a different life experience and teach me something. So opening up to all of it. And deep within my soul, and I'm sure a lot of people, there's this passion. There's something there. And when mediumship touched me, it was a sense of, wow, it's one of the most powerful ways to help heal people, was that through life after death. And that to me was that feeling that maybe Cody's talking about. There's a strong feeling of helping. There are many ways to help humans, of course, but mediumship is a very specific course, a way of doing it.
So that was really good, James, what you just said.
Yeah.
I too knew two things. I knew I was open like you for spirituality. I was just, I craved it. Your book I craved it. And I also had the same, not passion, but the same constant nagging at me to go to grad school for psychology. It was
I read the book. I know all about it.
It was a nagging.
In your life, you had that. It was really the fighting back and forth. The good angel and the bad angel. Because your whole book is about that. And she wants to know. Kellee was like, do I follow that true part of me? I can see spirit. But there's that part of me. I got to be a therapist. Now, did you do that because you want to feel responsibility? You felt responsible for your mother.
It was all the whole kitchen.
It was all of that.
Yeah, it was all of that. Yeah. It was all of it. But I had that feeling though about being a psychic or a medium or something. It was a passion. Yeah, totally.
And once that light, that light is lit, that candle is lit within oneself. That passion, it'll never go out. Now you may go different types of works, like a healing work, a missionary work, something else for people, but you'll always be able to come back to that feeling of passion when you do mediumship, or when you're a student in mediumship and you've been lit by that. You'll always have that. It'll always be there for you. So you're going to live your life in good ways, but that passion will always be there. Well,
speaking of that, did you start mediumship too?
I did.
Tell me about that. Yeah, because tell us about
so yesterday we opened up the cart, I'd say it that way, for the school for Mediumship 2. So it's a course which is like this #1 school course that the school is really built on, was the mediumship courses. And Mediumship 2, we had a lot of people on the waiting list that wanted to do it because they did Mediumship 1. They loved it so much they wanted to go on further. So I said, well, Mediumship 2 is going to be every 2 years. So the last time I did it was 2 years ago, but I wanted to change it up because there are a lot of things I've learned from people, desires they had, things they wanted in the course. So I made this course a little bit different in that it has all the basics of mediumship, but I'm also including one-on-one mentorship. So mentorship personally with me by themselves.
That's great, James.
And I'm also including a week. It's going to be like a 3 days physical workshop that they get to go to, and a lot of different types of exercises. And I'll be checking in with people all the time with their work. So it's very different. So I'm really proud of it. So Medium 2 is available right now at the JP School of Mystical Arts. There it is. Oh, there it is. Thanks, Renee.
This is good. Very exciting.
And we'll travel. I might bring people from the course. And if I do like a gig somewhere or I do a little tour, maybe I'll bring them if they want to go. Stuff like that. It's going to happen. So we'll do all this type of different things, I think. So it's really great.
There's nothing quite like that working with you. Okay, Eric says, how can we help ourselves if stuck in the identity of the human?
Great. Good. What do you think, Kellee?
Well, first of all, you've got to remember you're a
Let me get my
soul.
cough drop
First
too,
of
shall
all,
I? Okay.
I had to have a cough drop. I'm so sorry. First of all, you have to remember you're a soul having a human experience here. So the soul, you have to identify as a soul first before anything. So when you go into meditation, meditation helps us remember that. I don't have my book, but any of the books, you do have your book, the White Eagle book, that always helps me to remember all the quiet mind.
The quiet mind.
But if you get stuck in the identity of the human, you've got to remember.
So I'm very much a visual person.
Okay, good.
So I like to see things. So what I do, and just an example here, I'm going to show everybody this in 1 second. It's such a bad diagram, but you'll get the idea. This is the human.
Okay.
Right. So human things put down here, like, I don't know, job, or, job,
Career.
family, career. All the human stuff keep here. All the stuff that's not human, whether it's compassion, forgiveness, I always write it above the head. I always write it up here. And the reason I do that is because, as I've said before, 20% of this, the soul's here, but 80% is up here. So everything to do with spirituality, I call the minefields up here. Because all these levels of awareness, all these levels of consciousness, that's where compassion, forgiveness, the higher self is coming in. So that's why I write stuff down here. And for me, that's just, I need that diagram and like the visual of that. And so I write like forgiveness, compassion, empathy, peace, fun, love. So I write that above there. And that's how I see what's human and what's not of human. But, being human, everybody, it's a great opportunity. We chose it for great reasons. It's not all negative. It's very, very positive. There are things we have here we could not have anywhere else in the cosmos, in the galaxies and other planets. This is a place of free will. Not many places have free will. Many galaxies, they tell us, don't. You have to follow a path, and that's just the way you are. Here, we're lucky to be able to have free will, to make choices. A lot of places don't have the choices. You're learning one type of lesson, and that's it. Like when I was a kid, I used to think the planet Venus, this is really weird, and Mars. I also, well, as a child, I thought this. They would say, is there life on those planets? I'm like, well, of course. And when I was a young kid, I said to my mother, there's life on those planets. Why do they get Martians? They're not Martians. I said, they're you just can't see them. And I said, they're here. I forget what the Mars was, but I remember the Venus. I said, and I always loved Saturn too, always. I said, Saturn is made up of beings. I said to her as a little kid, learning about, what are they learning about? They were learning about themselves from, oh God, what was it? Something of their past. Venus was all about love. So there are beings there. That's the planet of love, as we know. But I always thought you just can't see them because they're outside the human spectrum. But they're existing on a different level of being, which is kind of true. And they're on that planet, but it's all about learning love lessons, all learning lessons.
And you're young when you were telling your mother
I was 8 years old.
This is fantastic.
Yeah,
so you knew.
Like
you knew.
We would look up at the moon and I'd say, there are many moons. That's just one. The planet Jupiter has 12 moons. And she'd say, what? I said, there are a lot of places that have more moons than this. This is just one moon. And I remember we said, we have a lot here that they don't in other places. Like your grandson told you.
Like August.
We make memories here.
We make memories here. That's why we come here. So
I love being a child.
Tracy Hazelcherry. I know. That's why it's so fun to be around you. Okay. If you've had so much trauma in life that you feel blocked, you're trying to unblock yourself with meditation, praying, self-care. How does a person know what they are supposed to do in life? Well, first, Tracy, the first thing, that you've had all this trauma, the first thing is to work through the trauma. And as you work through the trauma and as you begin to release the trauma, it's amazing how your life takes a different road and a different shape from that. So just working on releasing the trauma and working on, maybe in therapy or however you're doing it.
And it's important to know, Kellee, if I could say this, I'm not a therapist like you are, but what is the trauma? Identify. And does it own you? Does it own your life? Is it holding you so far back in your life that you are that trauma? Or you're just, that's an experience you went through, not a great one, but it forces you to think, to act, to be differently, to interact. I mean, it's a very interesting situation. I think every day a lot of us see traumas, experience traumas.
Well, I was just going to say, when we come to Earth, some of the things that will happen, we will be betrayed. We will have trauma. We will, have difficult situations.
Addictions. It's a place of
Addictions.
Yeah.
But getting through and learning about yourself and having compassion for what you went through. I had a tremendous amount of trauma, and what I had to do to heal it, I did, was to actually go inward and I sobbed for forever with having compassion for what I personally had gone through.
Kellee, I just got to say from your book, when I'm reading the book of the trauma you've been through, one thing you didn't do was you didn't judge it. You experienced the trauma, but you never judged it. You never judged it. Even with the baby out the window, you didn't judge it. You just experienced that had to happen for some reason there.
Well, of course, I was going to kill myself, but aside from that,
kill yourself. I like that part, but you were. Yes, that's true.
I forgot about that part, but no, you're absolutely right, James.
You learned. Right. I mean, you wouldn't be who you are today without those traumas.
Absolutely.
And you wouldn't be able to help people through life and life situations and their traumas if you yourself hadn't gone through them.
And that's why when I look at my destiny points of husband number 1 and number 2, I get it. I understand. I would not be here being able to understand everybody's situation if I hadn't had those experiences.
I listen, I was married to my college sweetheart, a woman. It was great. I was married to a guy. I was married. Who am I to judge? It's just experiences. Right. People so fast to judge. You had to learn things about yourself. Maybe it was karmic destiny points.
Right.
Because there are karmic destiny points. Right. But we have to have that sense of ourselves within ourselves and love ourselves to a point that we realize this is lessons we're going through. These are opportunities. And what do I feel about this? Mm-hmm. And one thing I want to say is you cannot let other people into your space that you're trying to look up to or be pleased by. And, they should be so proud of me. I'm going to go this way because I want them to be proud of me. Yeah. You'll get off your path.
Oh, please. If you're living you live for self or are you living for others?
Right. Are you a doormat? Are you at the house?
Right. Oh, my gosh. Mandy Hanner says, what about using a pendulum, asking your higher self? Is that free will then?
Well, I'm not so sure about the pendulum myself personally, because I think the ego can affect it somehow. So what's wrong with just sitting in the silence? And like my meditation course, my spiritual meditation course about sitting in the quiet, sitting in that stillness. When you have a relationship with your stillness of your soul, you can hear who you are. You can hear your soul tell you. You don't have to think about it. You become it. And that's really what you want to do, everybody. You want to become into that quiet space and know what your truth is, know what your passion is, know what your destinies are. I mean, I think in my early 20s, I knew I was going to live in California when I was a young kid, and I knew I'd be around people. I just knew it. I thought I'd be famous maybe as an actor or as a writer. I remember one of the first psychics I went to when I was young said, "You're going to be famous for books." I said, "I beg your pardon? You're going to be writing books?" I said, "I'm not going to be writing books. I'm going to write sitcoms." I'm the last person who wants to write a book.
I beg your pardon.
now I know, right? Now I know.
Isn't that amazing?
And I wanted to have children, and she said, "You're not going to have children this lifetime." And I always would see these 2 little boys in my mind's eye. But when I was a young kid, I'd see them. And she said, "You want children this lifetime?" I said, "I do." And she says, "No, it's not your destiny." I said, "That's not my destiny because it's not a destiny point for you." I said, "But I really want it." She goes, "No, your destiny is you're going to have the world will be your children." I'm like, "What does that mean?" She goes, "You won't understand this now, but later on in your life you will." And that was my destiny as well.
Isn't that interesting?
Kellee, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So in astrology, and I'm talking Western, not Vedic, because I don't know Vedic, there's the North Node and the South Node, right?
Yes.
Is the North Node a destiny point?
Yes, North Node and the South Node. So the North Node in Vedic astrology is called Rahu, and the South Node is called Ketu. And so North Node, South Node, whatever you want to call it, they're destiny points, and they are karmic points. And the North Node is our future, and the South Node is our past. So,
is the future where you're trying to attain to? Is that right?
Yes, it's where we're headed. Headed.
It makes sense in my life.
Yeah.
I was Aries South Node and Libra North Node.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense here. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Kathy F., can I just forgive myself and others in a meditation to release from repetitive life experience reincarnations of traumas? Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Why you? Of course you can. And you can heal people on other levels too. Like when the forgiveness comes, you can just call them up on a phone or write. You can just say on another level to their higher self, work on those levels of sending forgiveness and apologies. And you can do it on other levels. You can change the energy on other levels. I did it with my family members. And then in the physical, it took form 2 years after I did that. So exactly
wow.
in the energetic levels manifested in the physical 2 years later.
Well,
and it's similar to what I thought in my head.
Isn't that interesting? So today actually is the second day of Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. So today would actually be an extraordinary day, whether you're Jewish, whether you're not Jewish, who cares, to really look at your traumas or look what you can release, to forgive yourself or to forgive others.
And that full moon energy is a perfect time.
And that full moon energy that's coming up. And the other thing that's great about this full moon energy, James, it will help people figure out spiritually what do they want to do. So many people may get in touch with the fact that they really do want to be a medium. I'm thinking this. Mediumship 1 is still available too, right? Also?
Medium 1 is available. It's an evergreen course. Mediumship 2, funny enough, wasn't sure when I was going to launch it, but it felt right to do it this week. So yesterday was I launched it. And now, of course, I didn't even know about the astrology, but it's a perfect time.
It's a perfect time because especially with this, it's not a full eclipse, but it's a major eclipse that's coming up on October 14th. It's major because it goes across the United States.
Wow.
And believe it or not, it starts in Oregon and it goes through to Texas. And I mean, it just goes whoop right across. So lives will change,
Wow.
Destiny points will happen. Okay, Veronica, what about free will being the highest expression of our own destiny? Oh, I love that.
Translate that, Kelly. What does that mean?
So if you're free will and you make the greatest choices and the best, most conscious choices, would that be an expression of your destiny? Yes, I believe it is.
Or you would make your destiny by that being that behavior, because if you bring out love and send out love and everything, you attract love into your life.
Yes.
Your life is full of love if you put love out.
Yes. Yes. Beverly Bishop says, James, you once said to not be loyal to the pain of the trauma. And she said it totally freed me and opened up all possibilities. Oh, that's so good.
It's so true. You don't need to carry trauma around.
No, Silky.
I also said the suffering soul. You don't need to be a suffering soul.
You don't need to be. Silky 3249 says, I've learned that forgiveness helps your soul grow. It's not so much forgiving others, but freeing yourself from those feelings. Right on, sister. Right on here.
100%.
Okay, Renee, would you put that up again, please? There you go. Okay, Anna Maria Ochoa. Your meditation course and your HSP course have helped me so much.
Oh, that's great, sweetheart. Thanks.
Oh, super.
Thank you for saying that, because I just give it out. I don't know. I never get a lot of feedback from it, but thank you. And use it over and over again. You can use that again and over again.
Oh,
Very good stuff, sweetheart.
Let's see. Bridget Wolf says, have you met human beings who have a soul essence connection with another planet or galaxy? Me? Yes, I have.
Me?
Yes, we have. I'm meeting very interesting people who have soul connections to other planets and galaxies. Actually, I have a lot of. I do sessions on this. Actually, Bridget.
What about part of us being part of all that as well? So not only the human, but like my sister who passed over came to me. She gave me. I never talked about this. Gave me this beautiful visual of James, were just like flowers, like the stem and the main flowers that you're human right now, but you have these petals. And these are all different worlds that you're also a part of. So that inspires the human. So you're part of the creative world, you're part of that galaxy, and it's all part of you. And it's whatever you tune into or tap into, you can use that part of you, that world. So why can't we be a part of all those different galaxies and those spaces and places? Because worlds within worlds within worlds.
I love that. I love that. I thought about your sister today. There was a dime on my floor today, and I went,
No, that's a weird thing, because I looked at my counter and there was a dime on my kitchen counter today. I was like, how did that get?
Oh, so she's been active, because we have not had this conversation.
She's been active. Yes.
So Bridget says, I think I have destiny points to meet these intergalactic beings. I feel like I've come to Earth many times to help bring peace on Earth. Any suggestions for people who feel so different that they feel they must be from another planet?
Well, number one, you are an intergalactic being, so you are, and that's true. And the higher truth is the best way to look at it. And you receive higher truths, your higher self. It's at the higher level. When I was studying development circle for mediumship, I used to be around that circle. There were beings, some higher galactic beings.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And all the time. And I did many readings where Shirley MacLaine once I did a reading for her. And I mean, everyone was intergalactic. I mean, there were beings that I was like, I don't know how to describe this. She understood all of it. She understood them.
Oh my God.
She understood it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Bridget, I do a session. It's called a Starseed session. So I
do
work
you,
with.
Kellee? That's
I
great.
do because
Great.
there are so many out there just like you, Bridget, that I work with because I think it's really important.
They've come back this lifetime to bring in these higher truths, to bring up the awareness that we're beyond humans.
Right. Right.
Humans are, humans are hard. Humans are difficult. The human condition.
It's so
war,
true.
Killing ourselves. The spirit world's like, how can you kill yourselves? Because when you kill someone, you're killing yourself because you're part of that person. We're all connected. So when they kill people, you're killing yourself.
Right.
So there's that karmic thing.
There's exactly right.
Those conditions are then activated. Yeah.
So James, our time is up today, but
wow, that
went fast, right?
Yeah,
went really fast.
Faster than last week, I think.
Well, last week went so fast for me. Oh my gosh, I have those big crystals under my desk here.
That's right. Are you in you're back in your home right now?
I'm in my home today. Yes, and when I do the shows, I'll be in my house. Yeah.
So they're not affecting this office. You're not getting that rebuilt.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't need it. It looks great.
I'm good. Thank you. I'm good here. But I'll be on around Thursday. I do my show, Ask Me Anything, and I'll be here Thursday. And James, what do you have going this week?
Well, I have October 1st. I have a Spirit Night of Messages. So that's on sale too. So that's going to happen.
Great.
My first one I've done. I'm going to do like I did last time, which was so successful. It's music and mediumship. So I'm combining songs like, from the cruise, those great
songs, excellent songs.
And I use some of those and I'm doing meditation into messages. Everybody gets a message on their own. I can talk to each person about what they've gotten. So it's a good way of doing it. So that's October 1st. It's on myeventprog.com. And then Mediumship 2 is on now.
Okay.
Getting ready for the first call of that. Yeah.
Yay. Well, this is great. Well, everybody, then we'll see you next week because you'll be here next week, James, and then you leave.
I will be here next week.
But we'll be here. Okay, wonderful.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Renee. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
The James and Kellee Show.